Okay, Donnie Smith here, and we are putting this clear coat to the test. In fact, this is a real test because this is an actual job that we're doing it on. I normally like to do, if I'm experimenting with something on something that's not live work that we're trying to get ready, but this is one that we really needed it to work because we was in a bind, running behind. This was the last day of school, and he needed to drive this home today. So we was really hoping that this clear works the way it says it does. This is I think PPG's newest clear, and what it says to do is put two coats of clear coat, back to back, wet. No flash time. In other words, you don't wait in between coats like you do most clears. A lot of clears you put a coat on, wait 15 minutes, and then put another coat on, and then takes it a long time to dry, before you can buff, even if you bake it. But this clear is supposed to be able to put two coats back to back, no heat, no baking or anything like that, and be dry and ready to sand and buff in 30 minutes. So we did what the directions said. He had some parts here. He had a bumper and grill. He put a coat on the bumper, then the grill, then back to the bumper, and then the grill, immediately after following each coat. And he also had a hood. And after he's done with these parts, he went to the hood and he put one coat on the hood, immediately followed by another coat. And the reason we had to get this back together, and we only had, from the time he's painting it right here, probably a little over an hour to be able to have that thing ready to leave. So if it didn't work the way it said it was going to, we was going to be in trouble. So we put the two coats on, and after he finishes this, we walk out of the booth. We don't turn any heat on, and we wait exactly 30 minutes. Believe me, we was watching the clock because we're needing these parts to be dry and ready to put back on. So as soon as we waited that 30 minutes, he did have a dirt nib in his bumper. So we wanted to go ahead and test that to see if it did work the way it was supposed to. So we got the denibber system, and we sanded out a piece of dirt that was on the bumper. We got a polisher out and we polished the bumper, and it worked. It sanded fine, it polished up fine, and we'd had absolutely no issues or problems with that. So as far as this clear coat working the way it claims, it did a great job. In fact, we was able to get the parts, get them back on the vehicle, and he drove it home that day. And like I said just a minute ago, we didn't have much time. This is towards the end of the day before we got to this point. So this is one of those, you just want to do a couple of parts. This probably dry too fast to try to do a complete or anything like that, but if you're doing a couple of parts, I'd say this clear coat works great. And here we are, putting it all back together last minute. If you work in a body shop, you know how that is. Got it put back together, and now it's complete, and now he's driving it home.